Good evening, everyone. We're now ready to begin our Board of Trustees Facility Committee meeting. Today is September the 13th, 6 o'clock p.m., and we're now ready to begin. At this time, if we could, let's pause for a meditative thought, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, thank you all for attending tonight. I'll begin by reading the statement. This meeting is held in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act. The news media has been notified, and a copy of the agenda has been made available to the public. The meeting is open to the public, and the public is welcome to attend in person. All persons wishing to attend the meeting by virtual means may do so via YouTube, Sumter School District Board meetings, and Sumter School District's Facebook page. Vision. Sumter School District is committed to educating, empowering, and enriching the lives of all students to reach their full potential. Our mission, Sumter School District is committed to providing a safe, nurturing, and high-quality educational environment that supports diversity and equips students for local and global success. Tonight, we have with us yours truly, the board chair of the Facilities Committee, Sean Reagan. We have Matthew McLeod with us this evening, one of our board members who serve on this committee. We have a subcommittee member tonight that's joining us, Mr. Peter McCollum. Thank you so very much for being a part of our Facilities Committee, and we welcome you tonight. We have our executive staff with us tonight as well. Our Executive Director of Operations, Mr. Samuel Myers, who's always with us. Thank you, sir, for being here tonight. And we have our CFO, who's here with us tonight as well, Ms. Shatika Spearman. Thank you as well. As well as in the audience, we have Dr. Kumas here with us tonight, as well as Ms. Galloway and Mr. Cato, Director of Maintenance. And also we have Ms. Scott, who's with us tonight, our Administrative Manager. Our Superintendent is absent tonight because he had a prior engagement. All right. At this time, we're going to begin with our agenda that's outlined for this evening's meeting. And at this time, we will go to item number 1, which is opening of the meeting. And so at this time, I'll call the meeting to order. All right, the meeting is now called to order. We're now down to item number 2. Item number 2 calls for the approval of the agenda. And upon consensus tonight, without any objections, the agenda will stand approved. And hearing none, the agenda is now approved. We'll now move down to the items under item number 3, 3.1 through 3.8. Tonight we have a couple of things that we want to just review, and then a couple of things that we're asking as a committee for a couple of updates to move us further into our next scheduled meeting. So we'll start tonight with 3.1, and it calls for us to have just a brief discussion on bond referendums at this time.
Say good evening to everyone, and I've asked Ms. Spearman to lead the discussion on the bond referendum information, and she will also go into our next piece about the capital projects as well, and we'll proceed in that fashion.
Yes, sir.
Spearman.
Good evening, board leadership and everyone in attendance. Thank you for having me tonight. I want to start with discussing a bond referendum discussion. From this topic, I was able to consolidate, in summary, some critical decisions that our board would have to make when we go down this road of bond referendum. The first thing is that capital needs of the district, of course, and the size of buildings will need to be determined. We will need to hire third parties to assist us in determining what we're going to need. We're going to have to make some decisions as far as what we'll need as far as that. Number two, normally districts will have to determine a maximum acceptable millage. We're going to have to decide the amounts that we have here, and thankfully, this process is made easy because we have bond counsel to assist us with every step of this. Another general determination is the amount of bonds that need to be authorized. We'll also need to do the date of the referendum. As you know, November is very close, this November 2023, and we would have to prepare everything, of course, to have it ready for election day in November. So we would definitely have to do this at least the earliest next year. If we will, the quickest time to do it would be next year. There are some time constraints and days that you have to have certain pieces of this process done. For instance, a minimum of 90 days between the adopting of the resolution and the date of the referendum. There are specific date gaps that must be adhered to. Experience has shown that referenda are typically held on Tuesdays and in some cases on Saturdays. Generally recommended that the referendum be held while school is in session, so not during the summer term. If the referendum is going to be held on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November in any year, which is usually the general election date, the resolution ordering that referendum must be adopted and provided to the County Election Commission by 12 noon on August 15th of that year. So I'm going to present some more detail as it breaks the process down, but those number of days, we're going to literally have to count them up and make sure we're in compliance with that. A fifth general thing is the form of the question. So we're going to have to be very careful on how we word the question that'll be placed on the ballot. So that is some of the things that we're going to have to make some determinations on. I also wanted to supply this committee with certain a timeline, a proposed timeline from adoption of resolution all the way to when the contest period ends and is final. So there are 90 days between the adoption of resolution, of course, and the submission of the question to the county. Adoption, a minimum of 90 days before the referendum. That's when we adopt the resolution, and that responsibility, of course, lies with the Board of Trustees. So luckily in this whole process, the Board of Trustees has two major pieces of the timeline piece of it. The bond counsel has most of that responsibility, and the County Election Commission has two pieces of that process. The next step after adopting the resolution, we would submission of the question to the County Election Commission, and our bond counsel will assist us with this at least 75 days before the referendum or before noon on August 15th if during the general election. So those are some of the days that we'll have to be very careful with that. And again, we're working very closely with our bond counsel with this. The next event is a publication of notice of referendum in the local paper, not less than 60 days prior to referendum. And again, exactly 2 weeks later. So 2 notices go back to back that way. And again, our bond counsel will help us with that. The publication of notice of referendum in the local paper, that is the 2 weeks later. That's the second notification. Bond counsel will assist. Then the actual bond referendum, not less than 15 days later than the notice, after the notice, our County Election Commission will assist us with that. Then the results get certified. That's the Friday after the referendum, our County Election Commission will assist us with that. And then the second responsibility comes for the Board of Trustees is the adoption of the resolution declaring the results. That occurs the first board meeting after those results have been certified. And that is the duty of this Board of Trustees. After that, we'll do a file resolution declaring results with the clerk of court. That needs to happen as soon as possible. There aren't no specific days to that, but again, our bond counsel will assist with that. So that just gives you an idea how fast this could go and how we have to have the plans laid out before that. Again, there's a lot of pre-work when we get into adoption of resolution and all of that. We'll have to decide from our third parties what we're gonna need as far as what a facility we're gonna need, and go into the cost that way. So this is what the 30,000 foot view looks like. Of course, a lot of things happen behind the scenes, and so this is what we're looking at to do a bond referendum.
All right, thank you, Ms. Spearman. Do we have any questions at this time from any of our committee members concerning item 3.1? All right, again, thank you for that information, for sharing that with this committee. And I'm thinking we can take that same information and we'll later share it with the board, with the full board, moving forward. I shared an article as well with the full board, probably not too long ago, because I think this is the direction that this committee needs to start talking, from being that we've had a facility study done that we all know about back in 2018. And it calls for now in 2023 for us to start looking at these facilities before they get in any worse of a condition that we're serving students in, and just district-wide. So thank you for that information. Hearing no questions, we'll now move to item 3.2, capital projects update. And I think in this, the CFO shared some information to the full board as well, but it's on our agenda for this evening in case any committee members have any questions that they would like to ask. I'll turn the floor back over to the administrative staff, Mr. Myers and our CFO.
Yes, sir, you are correct. This information in detail was provided at the Finance Committee meeting on last Thursday. And out of that meeting, of course, we know that the board did vote on the recommendations that we provided. We brought forth a recommendation to reallocate $388,000 for improvements to Maywood's football field. That's taking the R.E. Davis allocation and moving into that. As you know, at that board meeting, it was tabled, if I remember correctly, until an estimate of costs and quotes are gathered. And so that is what my office is working on, to get that listing of costs and estimation. We're working along with Mr. Myers to get that. Also, we brought forward a recommendation to move technician vehicle monies that was originally allocated in the amount of $60,000 plus to move that to Promethean boards. And so those are the two recommendations that we brought forth. We gave a detail on the status of them. And also out of the board meeting related to this, there was a request to give a timeline on the completion of these projects. And so we are working on that right now, and we'll present that to you as requested, to give you a timeline on where that is and when these projects will wrap up. We are going to do a lot of projects this year. We have things in line and clear up a lot of these projects. So we're looking forward to actually doing that. As far as any updates, did you want to bring forth? Okay. All right. So this is pretty much what we did at the prior meeting. And so if there are any questions, we are definitely willing and able to entertain those.
Okay. Committee members, do you all have any questions concerning the capital projects update?
Mr. Spearman, Mr. Myers, do we have any projected time as to when we'll have the estimates on the Maywood field?
Well, that's an ongoing thing. We're looking at that right now. We have had a few things done, but we're trying to compile everything that needs to be done. And it'll Dr. Wright will be able to share that with you as soon as we can pull that.
And I'm sure that as the construction's going on the
Right.
football field or stadium, there will be probably increases or things that'll change along the way, and
Yes, sir.
we'll have to go back and revisit that.
Right, absolutely, and that is correct.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Well, I know my position on that, and I won't discuss it at this meeting, but I do have a couple of questions. It's not about that, but there was something in Fund 527, and it was an allocation for like $1,054,155, and I think it came out of Fund 527, and it was under Capital's projects. And I think it was the funding for fields and tracks. And my question is that for middle school, or high school, or both of them? And can y'all just explain this a little bit on that? Mm-hmm.
Resurface our high school tracks. Bids will be going out very soon to get that started. In light of that, we've worked on getting new football scoreboards for all of our middle schools. So the track process is something that's down the road for our middle schools, because we do have some middle schools who do not have a track. So, you know, the preparation of all of that is an ongoing thing, but we wanted to make sure we could provide something to all of those groups. But those high school tracks will have bids going out very soon.
Thank you.
Mhm.
5.24, I think it was wide, or have we designated certain places to get certain equipment for that funding? I think it's, yeah, 5.24.
That is correct. There are a variety of things that we're trying to assess right now that the schools need. We're working on suck vacs and floor strippers. But there are some other items that we're working on, and Mr. Cato has been working to try to acquire all of that information from the schools, because some may need something different, but we want to make sure whatever we get is going to be used at all of the schools.
Okay.
So that's a piece that we are continuing to gather that information, but that fund right there is one that we will be using very, very soon, because we're very close to getting what we need.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Okay.
And last, okay,
Mhm.
the Crestwood High School Stadium, I saw that on there, and I've been seeing it on there for the 250,000. And I know we've been out there and we've had conversation about it as a committee, but I guess we can get in this particular time frame a rough estimate of
Mhm.
what we're doing at this moment when it comes to that football field.
We've been working on making sure that we could acquire all of the specifics behind the field itself. We've had surveys and everything else completed, and we're at a point now where we can start looking at getting the scope of work to be done,
Yes, sir.
and then we can bid that out. I know it's been on there for a minute, but we've been trying to ensure that we could keep the current stadium up to speed until we could get that one going. So all of the other legwork has been completed. Along with that will be a lot of drainage work that's going to be done for the softball field and the baseball field. So all of that is tied together. We will get the bid for the track as well, but that will not be completed until the field is completed. So all of that is in somewhat of a package, and can't give a time frame yet, but we're working to get that scope of work. As soon as we do that, then we can get the bids out.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions? All right. Let's move to item number 3.3, if we could. That is the recent district facilities improvement, if you have anything to share
Okay.
under that category.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Updates on recent facilities improvements across the district. We have developed a spreadsheet outlining all of the completed projects and work orders at our schools, and it's updated daily. I've asked Mr. Cato to come forward and share some of the things that we're doing at our schools, and he's ready to do that for us at this time.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good evening, how are y'all?
All right.
I've had some contracted painting done at different schools. We've done some at Manchester, Rafton Creek, Lamira, Hillcrest, Ebenezer, Shaw Heights, High Hills, and Alice Drive Middle and Elementary on the parking lot side where they repaved the road on Middle Road, had all that restriped. We've also had it in Willow Drive, and a lot of that has been hallways and door frames throughout the schools. And then we've also had my in-house painter doing, different rooms as needed in different areas and things like that. Had new HVAC model units put over at different schools. We've been trying to phase out the old R22 stuff, and get newer stuff as it's going down, replacing that. The Hillcrest Stadium, as he said with the other one, we've had to keep it up. I've had new bleachers installed on the home side there. Right now I have handrail that's going down both sides of it to assist with people going up and down the steps, and it's in the progress of being made at this point. I'm waiting, hopefully it'll be installed in the next few weeks. I've had carpet and flooring done at various schools throughout the district. And same thing with roofing. I've had different roofing projects at multiple schools throughout the district. Not only, some have been just repairs overall, and then some we've had larger areas done. We've had security doors have been put in. Phase one, we've done them at Shaw Heights, High Hills, Sumter Academy, Ebenezer, Rafton Creek, R.E. Davis, and Oakland, and we're getting ready to start moving forward with phase two, which will include Crestwood, Lakewood, Bates, Wilder, Croswell, Hillcrest, Willow Drive, and Chestnut Oaks. And I've had security blinds. I've had some put in at Pacala and Furman and Oakland, which are the blackout blinds that you pull down. I've had at the annex, we've had stucco work done on the back side of the building. We had a leak problem there that had been just because of the age of the building. We've had phase one of that completed now, and I'm working on going around the sides and front with the rest of it now. I've had security fencing done at Hillcrest and Rafton Creek. Hillcrest is complete. The bulk of it is done at Rafton Creek, but there are repairs that are being done to the existing fence that's left done. And then and I've had gym floors. I've had a new gym floor put in at Crestwood and also at Chestnut Oaks and Furman. And Furman and Crestwood are complete. Chestnut Oaks is in the process of being completed. It should be completed by the end of this week. Any questions?
Any questions from the committee? Any? You mentioned handrails. Can
Yes,
you
sir.
say where did that go again?
At Crestwood on where I had the new stadium seating put in,
Uh-huh.
but I'm also getting handrails put down each of the entrance ways where they come down onto the seating itself. That way it gives, there's a lot of elderly people that want to attend a game, so I want to have
Certainly.
something put in that would, assist them in getting down to their seating.
Yes, sir. Okay. And then you mentioned HVACs.
Yes.
Are there any schools that we're currently, you don't have to name them, but any schools that we're currently working on HVACs within the district?
Yes,
Okay, so they are.
yes, sir.
Okay. All right. All right. Any questions? Any questions? All right. All right, we'll go to, thank you,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cato. We'll go to item 3.4, Maywood football field update. Mr. Myers, I think we said something briefly about this, but if you all have any updates you want to share, you can share it as to whatever work has been done prior to or whatever.
Some of the work has begun. We're in the process of assessing the costs and some of the other things that can be done. One of the most important pieces is to ensure that the football field is ready, continuing to be worked on. the track has not been used in several years, and we're making assessments about that and trying to get it into shape. So it's going to take a minute to sort of pull that together. We've got some structures that need to be, some being retrofitted, some being adjusted, painting, and different kinds of things like that, since it's been idle for a period of time. So those are some of the basic things that we're doing right now. All of the lighting is being checked by our electricians to ensure that all of the electrical functions are in operating condition. And just those basic kind of things. We've got bleachers that need to be pressure washed, and a cadre of other small things, but we're continuing to make those assessments about what the cost is going to be to some of the major things there.
Okay.
All right?
No questions. We'll go to item 3.5, metal detector updates. I know the last time this committee met, we had just some discussion about it, but I believe that there's been some work done on this particular item. So at this time, we will ask you all to provide the committee with any updates concerning implementation.
Okay. Metal detectors, or our weapons detection system, which is the official name of those units, they have been ordered and received. We've got 3 different units that will be at each of the high schools, and the remaining ones will go to our adult ed center, our alternative school, which is Sassy, and the Sumter Career and Technology Center. So those facilities will receive the first round of the metal detectors, and it's going to take us just a few minutes to get all of that aligned, because there are some specifics that go along with it. There are personnel who have to be in place, and there's a structure that must go with that before we can get that going. So we're working diligently to make sure we can get that pulled together, and as soon as we get that done, we'll let you know, and we'll be moving forward with it.
Any questions?
Just on the metal detectors, will anything be added to the athletics facilities as far as that, or is that part of it?
That is part of it.
Okay.
Those units are portable,
Okay.
and you can transfer them from one site to the next. Mhm.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Myers. 3.6, if there's an update, we've been talking about this as a committee as well, and we've gotten some updates from the train project that has been in the works. So if you have any updates on that one, you can share it with us as well.
Okay. Our train project is close to being completed. Some of the things that came along with that project, they took care of adding LED lighting to all of our facilities. The enveloping is continuing to be worked on as we speak, and that's going to be an ongoing kind of thing. They changed out the transformers at our schools, and our HVAC replacements was at Crestwood, Lakewood, Shaw Heights, Rafting Creek, and Furman, and we're in the process of those middle and elementary schools being completed, and they're still working on those. So that HVAC replacement is a big piece of that, and those are the basic updates for that train project. However, Mr. James Johnson, who is the senior project manager for train, would be available at our next meeting, and he can share some in-depth pieces to that, and the support that we've gotten from him, and the support we've given to train, and we've been appreciative of the work they've done. So we can have him available during our next meeting if that's something you'd like to have happen.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that.
Okay.
All right. Any questions on the train project?
Have we seen any savings versus before and now? Or do you know? I mean, you can just check them. Let me know later.
We
Or
can
let us
check
know
that.
later.
We can check that for you.
Well, I was just
Yeah.
wondering.
Okay. Yeah, it is.
but didn't we receive a check
Mm-hmm.
some time
We
ago?
did. Right.
I don't know if there's something, I'm sorry.
No, go right.
I was just wondering if we saw like a reduction in
In the,
power bill
in
or
the
something
bill.
like- Yeah.
That's an analysis that we'll definitely
Right.
look at, and it would really tell the story at the end of the project. But yes, we'll start compiling that information to get that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. 3.7, update review on, or of the 2018 facility study. I know that this board, as I mentioned before, back in 2018, received information concerning the facility study that was done. I believe that the full board has this information. However, if not, then we'll get it to them. But I have it on the agenda because I think it's necessary that we, as a board, begin to start taking a look at this study that was done in 2018-2019, because it's telling us some truthful things in this document that's kind of concerning as it relates to the facilities across this district. And so with that being stated, when we get to the recommendation side, I'll speak more on it, because I feel like this board, this administration, this district, we have to take this document and start putting it to work before we be in some trouble as it relates to where we have students being educated at, okay? All right, so I wanted to put this on the agenda, and if we don't have any other comments in this particular section of the agenda, we can move further. Hearing none. 3.8, which is our last item under section number 3, school visits. I want to inform the committee that this is something that we normally do as a committee. And so what I'll do is I'll get with Ms. Scott and provide the committee with an actual, and the administrative team, as well as our superintendent, with a actual schedule beginning probably the beginning of October, so that we can start pushing into schools, so that we can see some of the things that we were looking at prior in terms of the conditions of the facilities. And so what we'll do with that schedule is we'll meet up in probably 2 or 3 schools and do a quick walkthrough, let the principal guide us. We're not really having a meeting or so or asking questions, but we're taking notes. And then from there, we can come back to this setting as a committee, discuss those things, and make recommendations to the full board and then to the superintendent from there. But I will get that schedule together and present it to this committee, and then we'll move forward from there. Okay? All right? Any questions on that? We're good. Okay? Hearing none. All right. Moving right along, we're now at section 4. My computer will move. So recommendations. Do we have any recommendations from 4.1 recommendations for the board? Any committee members that have any recommendations at this time? All right, I'm going to make a recommendation that we, as a committee, ask the full board to take a look at the facility studies that were done in 2018, 2019, and we start, I guess, with the presentation either from administration or from, I don't know if we have to invite the company back that did the work, because they provided us with the information already. So from there, I guess we can assign somebody, or somebody can be assigned to it, and then go over the information with this full board, helping us to understand what's all in this facility study that has been done for every building, land, all that stuff as it pertains to the school district. So I'm going to make a recommendation that we bring this forward to the full board in our next meeting. All right. And that's the only recommendation that I have at this time. Hearing no other recommendations at this time. Item 5.1. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Thank you for being a part of our facilities committee meeting. I share with each member of the committee, and I'll get a copy to the full board as well, the facility purpose, the purpose of this committee, along with some of the specific responsibilities that may include our duties as a committee. Okay? All right. You okay with that, Mr. McLeod? Okay. Yes, sir. All right. So thank you, Mr. Myers. Thank you, Ms. Spearman. Thank you, Mr. Cato. Thank you, Ms. Scott. Thank you. And thank you back there, Mr. Chris. Thank you so much. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I have nothing else to say. And this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.